What is up, everybody? It's University here today, and we have to talk about a game journalist who has been playing God of War Ragnarok early, and he gave his first impressions on how he feels about the game so far. And he pretty much says how, well, this is what he says. Quick thoughts on the first few hours of God of War Ragnarok. I am very aware I am playing a PS4 game. Good fun so far, but definitely not next gen. It's pretty much saying it's not a big leap and bound that people were expecting it to be. It's pretty much like the same thing, like you just part two, the next part to it. So it's not really that big of a difference, and like the PS4 to the PS5. So he gave his opinions about that, and Sony fanboys were outraged, called this dude all type of an Xbox fanboy. And they were not too fond of this guy's opinion about this game, because if you say anything about a Sony exclusive in any type of negative way, they don't take too kindly to that at all. So, it's kind of what most people were thinking it was going to be like. People pretty much was calling it like God of War DLC in a way. It's like, hey, if you like the first game, like the whole mythology, Norse mythology, you want to see the conclusion, then get this game. That's where I'm gonna get it to, but don't expect it to be like a full gap into like the next generation of PS5 gaming. We're supposed to be looking forward to with this next generation of consoles, but yeah, kind of sad in a way, but not really expected. Like they're charging these $7 price tags, which is supposed to be, hey, you're paying more because you're into next gen. It costs a lot more. It's supposed to be more premium, but it's kind of the people saying it's more the same thing for PS4 generation. So I guess they're just charging more because they can at this point. But it's kind of like, that's kind of sad to see. But I like the first God of War 2018, so I'm gonna play this one. I like the mythology as well, so that's that. So this person responds and says, "Not sure what this even means. I assume graphics definitely looks next gen to me in that regard." Then he follows and says, "The excessive hitting low screens for one, and the same basic gameplay from before. I like it, but it definitely feels like a PS4 game." So apparently there's a lot of low screens in this game, which is, he says, excessive. So there's a lot of low screens in this game for one. And it's the same basic gameplay. Like, they're really not like, I guess they just really didn't, I don't know. I don't want to say they just really didn't improve the gameplay, but it's like, I guess just the same thing from part one, pretty much. It's kind of like, and this is good. The first thing that came to my mind was like how Batman Arkham Asylum was a big gap from Arkham Asylum to Arkham City. That was a huge gap from that game to the other game. But apparently for this God of War game, it's not gonna be that big of a gap that was in the other game, like Batman Arkham Asylum to Arkham City. So definitely disappointed. This guy says, "Very weird criticism considers the last in the game. What a null opinion." Yeah, it's kind of like the PS4 is holding back gaming. A lot of people came out, especially this week, especially devs saying that, hey, Xbox is holding back gaming. But apparently the PS4 is holding back gaming because he says those are for like a next gen title. So who is really holding back a next gen? Is it Xbox Series S or is it PS4? But, developers are really quiet about that. They want to talk about how the Xbox Series S is holding back game, which I'm gonna do a video about that. The little nonsense article where the lead devs said they was asking Microsoft about something about like Lauren, I forget what it was, but they had a little powwow saying how Xbox Series S is holding back gaming, and it was like the main guy was like he made some type of indie game that nobody cared about. That was definitely not demanding at all, but he wanted to talk about how it's holding back gaming, so we're gonna do a video about that too. But back to this topic. The sauce in this comments are buckets of copium. Yeah, they just can't agree. They just can't realize that this is not a big gap from like a PS4. How a next gen game should be on PS4 to PS5. It's not that big of a gap because they're still making PS4 stuff. It's not going to be that big of a difference. Then he says, "But when we said it's a problem, I've been seeing this more and more, and I don't think this is as bad as people think. Think about Gotham Knights being next gen and slightly the lower level performance. Anytime I hear someone critique something about God of War for not changing up the gameplay, it comes across like someone whining Michael Jordan didn't improve his game much from season to season. You can't improve perfection. Was it really? I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say the combat was okay, but it's like, really? We're going to play the same game with no improved combat at all? Like, okay. Something as close as God of War isn't going to make clear leaps. And that's like, you really don't want nothing to be changed from a PS4 to the PS5 game. So you're playing the next generation. You just don't want nothing to be changed. You're completely fine with that. I don't know. It seems very strange to me. How when you play on a new system, like even from God of War, the first God of War to God of War 2, the original God of War, it was a difference. But you know, these guys apparently don't want no difference in the newest entry. That's just weird. It's pretty much like a DLC at this point, like extended DLC. It's because of this kind of thinking that we got 30 FPS native PS5 and Series X and S games. Why do people with clear agendas get to nab review code when it could be put to much better use by giving it to someone else who isn't trying to critique for the sake of critiquing? I mean, it doesn't involve critique. If this guy's saying he's playing the game, I see doesn't really see that big of a difference between the PS4 game. So I think it's pretty valid. Read the comments and read the bloodbath he has unleashed on himself. What an absolute dropkick of a comment. This guy's credibility has all but been destroyed. All I gotta say, his credibility has been destroyed. Well, nobody else has played it but a few select people. But, you know, his credibility is... Like, this guy who's making this comment hasn't played the game, but apparently he just thinks it's because he's just, I guess, making up this... He's just making up this, how it feels like playing a game. Okay. I honestly just can't with this guy. I wonder what console it started in development in. This is just his usual attention-seeking behavior. Ignore it. The other thing is that there are about 1 million extremely positive previews out there. People will focus on this, of course. Okay, so because there's a million ones that's positive, he has no problem with those. But, you know, if somebody critique it, that's where's the issue at. That just has to be attention-seeking. Okay, it just can't be like a valid concern. Because we know how Sony gets down with the whole blackballing thing. If you say anything negative about their games, you might not be getting review codes anymore. So, and this person says, on a cross-gen game, no way, bud. You know, they say that, but then again, we are paying $70 for these games, so it should be a big difference. I mean, if they're really going to really change that much, they should just charge $60 again for the PS5 version. Look at this POS. Why are people so toxic? Is he really toxic about saying how much they've changed? He's literally a game journalist, give you a first impressions of the game so far. So, okay. Okay, so he's an Xbox fraud clown. At least Sony games don't hold back the industry with 30 FPS lock and forcing on other platforms. Oh, he's definitely not biased with a PS5 gaming name handle right there. He's definitely not biased at all. And left for really complain that the loading screens are hidden. Or maybe he said that there's excessive loading screens. Fam, it's legit a PS4 game, though what were you expecting? You know, somebody critiqued an Xbox game like this that said, hey, let's say for Halo Infinite, for example, they say, hey, Halo Infinite ain't really that much different from the previous Halo before that. I mean, I would kind of see what they're saying, why they said what they said, and I listen to them. But you know, these Sony guys, they just can't do the same thing. They can't actually take criticism for their games at all. Because if you do criticize their games, you're the attention seeking. And only the positive reviews are the ones you should go by, apparently. Was this you when you were playing Elden Ring? Okay. Gets a cross-gen game, then is shocked that it plays like a cross-gen game. Okay, that is the okay, if it's just supposed to be like a cross-gen game, why are they charging $70 for the game then? Just calling for what it is, a last-gen $7 DLC. Yeah, if it's just going to be a $7 DLC, then they should just charge us $60 at that point. PS4 holds back a generation, but there's still exclusives fun to be had. Always that person has to critique it in a new way that no other cross-gen game gets, lol. They really have this man a review copy just for him to say this. Better lock your doors tonight. I don't even know what that even means, but okay. But you can just see the saltiness from these different comments. They're just so mad that he made a critique of their favorite exclusive titles. When Madness stops releasing on PS4, it's probably when it's going to stop getting these cross-gen games. I wonder, do people get mad? Just this angry people say that the previous Madden is just like the newest Madden. People be like, hey, if that's the case, then I probably won't buy the newest Madden. But if you said about God of War, a Sony exclusive, then that's a problem. So, interesting. I expect anger. Okay. These $70 slightly upgraded PS4 games are getting out of hand. Yeah. You pay $70 for much just PS4 games, so that is kind of the game plan Sony's going with this generation. Slightly enhanced PS4 games, pretty much. You might as well mute this tweet because I can already see the losers are crying out under it. Yeah, they are definitely butthurt about this guy's opinion about the game so far, which is just hilarious. Just wait until the 9th gen ends and you're still saying this? The hardware isn't the problem, development culture is. It's got to change. Mark Cerny tried to warn y'all. Warn everyone, okay? Whoa, God of War Ragnarok is not next gen. Not only is it DLC, but it's not next gen. Who's holding next gen back? The real question that needs to be asked. We have heard this entire week the Xbox Series S is holding back next gen, but it seems like the PS4 is the real culprit here. What's holding back next gen? But that won't be talked about. I can't think of too many brothers that are more straight up than this guy. And this is a killer example of how flaming platform fanboyism goes hard, toxic the second you insinuate what they don't want you to period. Yeah. Another journal with a copy of God of War Ragnarok for review says it's a PS4 game first and foremost. And people have been having a field day with this I guess like this troll monster right here. People have changed the avatars to this thing. I don't get it. I guess they say because it's low textured. I don't know. It's just like a troll monster to me. But this is kind of like the new Craig from Halo Infinite. People are just making fun of this troll image right here. Fanboys seething in 3, 2, 1. It really don't take too much to get these guys mad. The number of pansies hurt by this opinion is too damn much. He didn't lie though. As long as this cross-gen is still a thing, games are tailored for the last gen, then use better textures, shadows, effects, etc., and much better loading times for this generation. Yeah. He just gave his opinion and said, hey, it's pretty much like a PS4 game, and people are just legit angry about this. This dude is effing insufferable. Sony really needs to stop giving these clout chasing losers free stuff. Like you literally said nothing about the game. Like the game isn't out yet. He's not going to tell you about the story. Like what else is he going to talk about? Really? Like what else is he really going to go in detail about? Like you can't talk about the game yet. It's on the embargo. So these guys and look how they just don't want this guy to get any more review copies. So like how the head of the company is how they blackball people. The fans want these people who speak truth about Sony games to be blackballed just the same. It's just ridiculous. Who hurt you? So now somebody hurt him because of what he said about God of War. The effing Series S is holding back God of Ragnarok. Is that going to be the new excuse? The Series S is holding back PlayStation exclusives now. Maybe that's what's going on. When are Microsoft going to learn this crap box needs to be dropped? I will not deal with a whole generation of the Series S holding back games. Okay. I mean, it's a PS4 game, though, so yeah. If you're aware of the fact, why would you say it's not next gen? This is the most craziest nonsense here. Can you imagine playing a game from the last generation? Then you play it on your brand new system, and people are literally saying, hey, what did you expect? The new game not going to be leaps and bounds better on your new system? It's going to be barely, slightly enhanced over the last generation? And people are completely fine with that, and they're fine with paying more, too. So it's just like, wow. Sony fanboyism just knows no ends and bounds. That's like, how dare you tell me the newest exclusive is slightly better than my previous console I had before, than the previous last gen console. Very interesting to bring up considering the fact that everyone already knows this is a cross-gen game. Nobody brought up S like this when Elden Ring came out. And when we say it's not next gen, everyone is gonna get mad. But then again, like this guy says, might as well wait for the PS5 version. Sony might just do a God of War Ragnarok director's cut and make it feel more next gen. So they might do that next year or 2 years from now. So there you go. This generation has been stagnant for damn near 2 years already. Yeah, so I'm gonna conclude it right here. It's just fascinating. These guys are so angry that an actual journalist who's supposed to report to you how these games are from their standpoint to help you on your decision making or whatever. They are mad that he's telling that this game is pretty much kind of the same thing from last generation, but slightly better. It has a lot of load times, and people are angry at that. How dare you tell us our game that we praise and worship so much isn't that much better than the last game we played? How dare you tell us that? It's just hilarious. But I'm gonna conclude it right here. Like I said, most people probably still gonna play the game day one anyway, but it's just like, really, if they weren't gonna really change that much, they could just charge us 60, and there probably wouldn't be any complaints at all. But because this so-called next generation, they just have the liberty to charge more. It's just ridiculous. But I definitely see your thoughts down below about the saltiness that we have seen from some of these comments. Leave a like for this video, and as always, thanks for watching, and peace.